All right, we're going to try another experiment here using the Koala Pearl Glossy photo paper. When I saw this, I was thinking satin, satin finish photo paper, but it's not. It's this kind of luster, silver luster, kind of iridescent paper, single-sided, very thin. Okay, it might come in different weights. I'm not sure, but this, they make it. This is like printer paper that you can, run through. I don't know what type of printers, that you use that on. I'm not using it for that purpose. I'm using it for stamping, but it has to be thin to get through all those different types of gears. I take it, so I don't know. It surprises me what type of surfaces, your home-based, your home type of printers can print on these days. All right, but the question is for us, what type of inks can work on this type of thing? Okay, so I've tried glossy photo papers in the past. I've done things like foils, iridescence, etc. Okay, I have a feeling this is somewhat, it looks iridescent, okay, but just like a glossy photo paper looks like glossy cardstock, they are completely different animals, okay? So I've found that dye-based inks, when I've tried it on photo paper in the past, it's worked just fine. And that's what I thought I would test out here and just, see how it goes. Okay, so I'm going to use, let me get my tack and peel covered. Let me use a dye-based black ink here. I might add a little bit more color to it because I want to add some colors into this piece right here, or maybe I'll just color them in. I'm not sure. Okay, so well, let's just go in black. Let's just make things nice and easy. I just re-inked this black. I'm hoping there's enough on there. My black was very dry because it's very dry out here lately. It's dry everywhere. It's drying around the world. But let's get a really good impression here, or try to. Let's move our pressure point from left to right, top to bottom, go in the middle a little bit, and allow that ink to transfer and penetrate the, I don't know if I guess it's an emulsion surface if it's a photo paper. And, just to give us our best chance of a really good impression. Okay, this is kind of sticking right now. And it looks great, no problem there with the impression. Like I said, you got to re-ink your pads, though, okay, before you do it. You don't want it so sloppy it's going to fill in the details, but when you make your impression, good pressure overall, hold, and allow to transfer, okay? You got to allow that transfer over. Remember, dye-based inks work by staining, all right? Some inks, like pigment inks, solvent inks, they're surface-based, okay? So you don't need to hold as long with those types of things, first of all, because those ones are, they're also very, I forgot what I was going to say. Well, the other types of inks are very fast drying. Okay, all right. Here's a fence like this. Let's see. Let's go with these on both sides. I've usually done that in the past. Well, maybe I'll go with the smaller fence this time, like this, and another one kind of out here, like that. Yeah. Okay. So let's try this right here. I'm sorry, folks. I forgot what I was saying on that last one because I'm thinking about this composition here, and when I haven't used something before, there's a lot of things kind of going through my mind that I'm looking at trying here. Okay, so anyways, fence left. And another fence on the right. You can go with a larger one down here, smaller one, on the other side if you want to, near and far. You can do, I don't know, you can have fences going up here and flanking it, but these ones are just going to kind of be coming in like so. All right. Okay, kind of making a little entry point like that. We have all this area to fill in here now. I'm kind of curious, would colored pencils work on this? I plan on using some like alcohol ink pens. I don't know. I'm not sure if it'll work or not. I will find out, I guess. Okay, here's a little sedge filler stamp here. It's a little bit of a smaller one. You can use the larger one too. Okay. And I'm just going right over the fence. I don't need to mask out the fence because, the fence is solid and this is kind of airy. All right, so we've filled in this other area down here. Okay. I can go for a little bit more texture on this road. I don't want necessarily a grassy road or something like that. It's supposed to be a country road, but I don't want it to be completely, I don't know, whatever, grown over, and abandoned or something like that, okay? All right, these are some pebbles that come with this set here. These stamps are sold individually as well, but I put them in a set for value and usage too, okay? All right, so adding these impressions of these rocks down here, okay? It's giving me a little bit of texture. All right, something like that. How's that look? Okay. Kind of this little S-curve type of thing that I like in compositions. I think it makes it a really graceful type of kind of entryway into the piece. Okay, so let's test out some different coloring options here. So this is done in a water-based ink. And let's see how this goes with, I don't know, let's go on with some alcohol inks. The question I have is, are these inks going to smear and pull off? Now, it might be just because they're still dry, wet, because I've re-inked this, okay? Normally, your pens wouldn't smear water-based inks. Okay, let me test it out, too. Okay, I can't tell because I already have some ink on my fingers anyway. Oh, no better time than the present. Okay, so this is a little bit of brown here. Hey, look at that. Zero smearing. Okay, I don't know if you can tell that, but I think it's zero smearing. Okay. Go on the inside of that. This is this covered bridge, so I'll apply a little bit of this on top too. Like so, coming down here. Let's add some of this down here into this kind of grassy area as well. Okay. Go on the road a bit, about like so. I'm kind of doing this thing. If I was painting, I would call this kind of dry brushing or scumbling. It's where you're just kind of going like this around in areas, okay? Yeah, it looks like I am pulling off some ink off the surface, but it's really not too bad. Okay. But anyways, I want some of this color in here just for integration of tone, okay? If I don't have a little bit of kind of those lighter colors here and there, there's kind of a disconnect between one area and the next. So you kind of add it in a little bit all over the place. Okay, so let's go with these grasses in here, okay? I want to do kind of a fall scene, so maybe there's not going to be so greeny, grassy types of areas, but let's see how it goes, okay? All right, so let's add in a little bit of kind of a brighter, darker tone like this. And what I'm hoping for, I don't know, but I've done this with other pens in the past, is when I go in with a lighter tone, it allowed me to blend those out a little bit. Okay, then this one's stuck more. But I'll try to work fast here and get some of that to kind of blend out a little bit. So I should have been a little bit more careful with that one, okay? But it's not too bad. All right. Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about the colored pencil. I don't want to do colored pencil yet because if I add that in, I'm not going to be able to add very much else. I don't think over the top of it because it's made of wax. Okay, let's see. Let's go with this lighter green like this and go in. Kind of work some of those greens out a little bit. I'm not, you know, the way that I'm using this right here, it's not too much different than you would color on, you know, a matte. Or, you know, maybe more of like a semi-gloss or glossy. Yeah, maybe that more than matte. But, you know, you just kind of go in here and build it in a little bit. Build up your tones. And then when it gets built up enough, I think we'll be able to blend them in a little bit more. Because the alcohol inks are also very surface oriented, okay? And when you build them up, you're kind of piling up those inks on top of one another so that when you go into it, you're kind of mixing those inks there kind of on the top surface, okay, of the paper. And those are the ones that you can kind of move around a little bit more. And then the first base layers, okay, the first base layers are kind of, yeah, you know, they might be going into the surface a touch. With alcohol inks, I'm not really sure, but I think a little bit. Okay. I haven't done my Marvy, you know, not Marvy, but alcohol inks in quite some time. You don't have to, but I request a little bit of cutting me some slack. You don't see me doing marker rendering very often at all. Not because I don't like it, just, I don't know, I'm doing a lot of other things. I do like the look of markers, though, believe me. Okay, going in, blending down, going up, going into some of those greens too, okay. For that continuity, and I don't know, it's supposed to be kind of fall too, so. All right, let me be a little bit more selective in terms of my placement because it is kind of grabbing that paper and it's not just real surface oriented, so. Being a touch more careful. I'm going to be bringing in some other types of things in here that are really going to help me kind of blend things out a little bit more, a lot more, in the form of pigment ink and some paint pens, that type of stuff, that type of dynamic media. Okay, going and coloring my trees, kind of a little bit of a fall-ish tone. There's yellows in there. It's kind of a base layer coat. I want to get brighter in there too. Okay, let's see if I can bring in some brightness with this yellow down here, or is it just going to be a layer over the other colors? I don't know. Let's see. All right, let's try some more browns, and I'll go on the top side of the covered bridge. Okay, make it a little bit irregular. Okay, and then what you do is you go in and then just kind of blend that in a little bit more. Okay. How about some little bit of blue in that water, like this, okay? Now I don't fill in the whole thing because I want some of it to represent like glistening water, like reflecting a lot of light in the sky. So difference between just coloring and lighting at the same time is you just retain some of your lighter areas, okay? So like that, even if it's like right there, see that's catching the light. And this is like this road right here. This is kind of catching the light right here. I can bring a little bit more, a lot more tan into this, or, you know, some color. It's a little bit too bright. Let's see. Let's try this one right here. Okay. Sometimes I'm trying to pull color off, which can be done with certain types of media. With this one here, it's moving around a little bit, but not too much. Here's a brighter yellow. Okay. And I don't hit it everywhere. I'm just kind of hitting it here and there, you know, giving it a little bit of that variation. Again, okay. Here's an orange right here, okay. For those of you that are really good at Copic markers or something like that, these aren't Copics, but alcohol, just general alcohol pens. This should be a snap for you. There's no outlines on here though, so it's, you're just kind of, you're doing these different zones in here and just kind of moving around your color, but it's the same concept. You're just doing it without, you know, the constraints of, you know, outlined areas. Here's a little bit of pink right here. Now I know this whole thing is done on the silver, so we'll have to see if this silver, or how much, if it is going to be affected by that color of surface, okay? And we'll, you know, I don't know, we're gonna have to imagine, you know, what it would look like in just white, and if this surface is going to contribute to the overall kind of feel of it. I can't imagine it's not. Look at that. See, it's so silvery like that. See, this is your, you know, white piece of paper, okay, or cardstock or something like this. Look how much more luster there is. Here's a piece of cardstock, okay? So this is like this, but look at this. Look at that luster and sheen on there, okay? Okay, so now this is not just coloring for coloring sake. It's kind of providing a base layer for my paint pens to come, okay? So I don't need to be super careful about my placement of it. I can get kind of sloppy. I don't know. Maybe really sloppy. This is not expert coloring here, you know. People watching this video that are very attuned to, you know, marker rendering, just, you know, it's a shower of thumb downs on this video right now. Like I said, I'm not really, you know, that practiced at that. I do like the look. I love it. But not terribly good at it by any means. I don't know, it suits its purpose though, the way I use it. Okay, so that is that. Now let's try to let's see if we can, let's see if this takes you know, some colored pencil. I don't know if it will. Yeah, it does. Okay. Oh, maybe I spent too much time with that other media in there. I don't know. Adding down on this surface down here, the road. This is just a brown colored pencil. Now, I can't imagine that I'm going to be able to build up much color with this colored pencil on here, but, you know, one or two layers, light layers, doesn't seem to be a problem for it. A little bit of a darker under the eaves. That was brown. Here's an orange. I think this got darker than orange, so I don't know if this is going to read up here at all. Not really. Okay, let's try black. Okay. I can do a little bit more rendering on this. See this covered bridge. Kind of darkening some areas up top there like that, like it's in shadow or something of that sort. Okay, and then adding some shadows at the base of our fence posts like that, okay? Kind of anchors it down, doesn't it? You can even add some shadows down here on the road, like so. All right, so that is that. Okay. That is a very poor job of coloring. But let's see if Stampscapes stamps, if there are no mistakes, as I always mention in Stampscape stamping, because there are always things that you can do. And what you see at any given time, if you know, as long as you're not, you know, you can't apply anything anymore, is everything is kind of always preliminary types of applications, okay? All right, so we have these colors that are, you know, they're largely on here. These are the 3mm paint pens. I'll be using some smaller ones as well. But let's get some kind of bolder types of applications of media on here. It'll look a little bit weird at first. Hopefully only at first. You never know. Okay, so this is a little bit of green here. I'm going to add in some greens into my meadow area, okay? It's kind of a little pointillism type of thing. This is where you kind of, or we kind of start to go into the direction of kind of a little bit of a, I don't know, my idea of stamp impressionism. Okay, just taking like colored light and or the representation of light and trying to capture that in a scene. Well, it's starting to come together already. Like, isn't that kind of a, you know, a little bit of a fun, I don't know, kind of fun, friendly type of little entryway like that. The road looks totally weird, but remember, this is all, anytime you change, you know, like or add any type of texturing that's really different from the rest of the scene, it's really going to stand out weird until you bring it into other areas as a kind of a common texture or common lighting, maybe in this case. Okay, you bring some of this down here too, like so. Not a quick card, you know, but yeah, it shouldn't take too long though. What I've been practicing is kind of a lot of oh, I don't know, application freedom here. It's really going in and I don't know, kind of adding in these really loose applications of tone, the alcohol, colors, color blending. I didn't really blend it really well, but c'est la vie. And again, it's because I just know that, from experience, when I go in with, if we go in and we add in, some pigmentings and things like that into the mix, it all seems to come together. So see, as I'm kind of building it up, it's reading a little bit more as kind of this textural kind of lighting happening in here. I'm kind of clustering some of these little yellow dots on the top sides of some of these grass kind of tufts, clusters, like that. All right, kind of coming to life a little bit. Okay. Let's see. This one's a little bit of a duller yellow. I don't know if that'll. Yeah, it's a little bit of a different yellow. It looks different. A little bit lighter, I guess. It's like a pastel. Like a pastel ochre or something, maybe. We have fall coming up here. That's my favorite time of year, I think, weather-wise. At least it was in the past. I don't know. We're getting some different types of weather patterns. Hopefully, we get a little bit of a reprieve from that and back to normalcy. But I don't know. I think a lot of things got to change around. But hope you're staying cool if you're in one of those areas. I don't know of anyone that's in like a cold wave or anything like that, but hope you're away from fires, flooding, kind of those extremes of nature. Okay, so adding this in, this is white. I'm adding it into this road, kind of making it, hopefully, kind of shimmer. It's kind of like, follow the shimmering dirt road, as opposed to, follow the yellow brick road. Okay. Adding a little bit more lighting to a couple areas. Okay. I'll add some as kind of like little highlights. I guess all of it could be considered kind of highlights. But you go to white and it's, the lightest of values that you can possibly use. Okay. Okay. And I was watching this movie on, I think it was Iceland, and the kind of the introduction of lupin there, lupin, and how beautiful it is, but it is kind of an invasive plant, but it's adding a lot of kind of nutrients back into the soil of kind of degraded lands, that were kind of destroyed probably in the early days from civilizations cutting down all the trees in given areas. So even primitive man can really change a landscape, with very, limited resources in terms of, I don't know, mechanical, apparatus. Okay, so anyways, adding that down here, a little bit of pink like that. Boy, that white really stands out. I'm looking at it more like this, so I couldn't even see that. I was looking at it like this, with a like glare. Look at that. That's like dark on light now. And that's like white on dark, depending on the angle of this type of paper. God, look at that luster, though. That is pretty crazy. All right, so that is the fun part of this type of paper here. I don't know, there's a lot of fun parts of it, but let's go in with our detailed white 0.7 millimeter extra fine paint pen. And let's see, I'll add a few little highlights here and there, little kind of more detailed kind of lighting highlights. And, you know, I'll kind of reintroduce my fences back in here that were kind of eradicated with tone, you know, coloring over. So you just go and reintroduce it with your pen like that. I can put in some little highlights on my rungs of my fence, and doesn't that make it look quite a bit more three-dimensional by adding in, if I can here, those little highlights on the top like this, okay? This pen is kind of, a lot of this ink is sitting on the surface, so it's going up in my tip. You got to kind of watch that. Try to get it feeding again. I might have been digging into some of that acrylic paint too from the other pens there. Let's see. Sometimes these pens are going a little bit too much, but when I'm using these pens are normally very, very good, and they're not getting, this isn't getting clogged, the tip is getting filled up with media on here. Okay, it's going a little bit better now. Okay. Highlights down here in the rocks. Oh, my camera. Here we go. Okay. Bringing out these little highlights of these rocks down in here. See, I colored over a lot of them and just colored the whole rock, and I'm just able to bring out those rocks again with the use of this white paint pen, okay? So I'm never worried about kind of working around things too much. You know, I might consider them a little bit, but not too much, because I just know that you can just bring it back out, you know, anything that's lost, you know, with a paint pen or something of that sort. After, you know, all the applications where it just would have been hassle to kind of work around it. So I don't work around it. I just kind of go right over that. And if I need to go back in, I'll do it at this point in time. So there's just less fuss about things. All right, let's go up on this little rooftop and I'll define, you know, some of these wooden kind of slats or whatever. All right, now this is flowing. When it's flowing, I don't want to stop. Okay, let's see this now. All right, so things are getting kind of, you know, they seem like somewhat busy now, okay? This is where my white pigment ink comes into play. I have my white brilliance pad here. I don't know if the other types of like hero hues will work on here. It might. It is, other types of pigment inks are oil based though. And sometimes I have used like a VersaFine Clair on photo paper, and it never dried. Okay, I'll do some tests on it coming up here, but I wanted to play with my, I don't know, this composition here a little bit, and paint pens, and kind of get this real kind of kind of dreamy, hopefully dreamy kind of ish surface on here going, just to see what it would look like. Okay, any little bit of fog like coming off of the water and going up into here. This white pigment ink works really fantastic. This is the Brilliance again, water-based, quick drying pigment ink. Okay, get yourself a pad. Hey, I'm not affiliated with that, okay? Any company. But this Brilliance one, get yourself a pad, get yourself a re-inker. I have two pads, one for my cotton and one for, making impressions with stamping out of. And I've never had I've never had a pad serve me so well. I've used like Marvy pads for years, and like Marvy Black has been, a big time performer in my repertoire of media, but this Brilliance White has really opened up a lot of doors in terms of what's possible to, apply your media on, okay? This works on foils, iridescence, photo papers like this. Okay. All right. So see this kind of foggy kind of rendering that's going on here. Okay. Here's what I want to do too. Here's what I almost forgot about. Let's see if this is still flowing real well. As I come up and kind of come up into my trees here and, I don't know, I'm just kind of winging it and kind of faking it here, but putting these little trunks, tree trunks into here. I do have some tree trunks in the design, but inevitably when you're coloring like this, you're going to be losing a lot of that to the coloring. There's paint pen in there. So I'm just kind of going in, reintroducing some, I don't know, kind of tree trunk forms. I'm going to say the tree trunks because I'm just kind of, adding them back in there. But look at that. Isn't that really fun back in there like that? Okay, now I add that in first because when I go into it now with some additional pigment ink, if I'm doing this streak with this pen on this, some of this is going to be going up into the tip here. So best to kind of do that, take care of that kind of early on. And then see this, like put a little bit of this fog at the base of these trees like that. Okay. Now I usually have this coming in from the top, but I think I want to leave that silver like that, so I'll just kind of leave it as is. There's certain things that I don't like, going on in here, but I'll show you what I do with that too. All right, that is that. Now, I have a lot of things to stamp over. Dye-based inks are not going to do that for me, okay? I'm going to have to go with something that'll stick on these types of surfaces here. Would that be? I think StazOn will work really well for us, so let's get that a shot here. Let's see, I already have this on a block here, the unmounted version. It also is on the set that all this comes in, not the fences. Okay, so let's see if this will apply over pearl paper, acrylic paint pen work, colored pencil. StazOn's usually been a pretty good performer in terms of doing things like that, so let's see how it goes. StazOn has the reputation, you know, as far as being able to stamp on just about anything. It doesn't look too bad, huh? Look at that depth there. And look at that glare of that light kind of reflecting in there. How about our trusty Reed's Large? Okay. I don't want to put too much over here because it would mean that it's like in the middle of the road or something, but I'll put a little bit over here. Let's say there's some little bit of an overgrown area. So this is kind of providing a little bit of a textural kind of change in this little area right here. It gives it a little bit more depth and kind of puts some in front of that fog. All right, so that is that. Let's get this card formatted just with a simple little matting, maybe a double mat. I bet you that StazOn's pretty dry right now already, but look at that right there. That sheen. And look at that down that road area like that. In certain types of lighting, that reflection kind of looks weird down here. But I don't know, it just has that changing personality. On a white piece of paper, it's not going to change personality quite so extreme like that. Well, let's get this matted up and take a look. All right, this is our card formatted. These cards formatted always look so much better. But anyways, just a little piece of white cardstock around on the perimeter and a piece of black matte cardstock like that. And there it is. Okay, so that's just the pearl like that, all right? But the benefits, the pearl, let's take a look at it in terms of the surface, you know, kind of quality, okay? Like I said, this is, you know, like a piece of white paper here, but, you know, when you go like that, look at that. See that lighting up there? It's just so much more extreme. And down here on the road, see, I'm turning this around like this. And look how luminous that is, even underneath all that paper, as opposed to this. Okay, this would be reflecting light. Hey, I haven't left. See, look at that water right in there. I'm a little bit out of focus, sorry. But look at, see this water right here? How that captures that light, just that blue. But see, that blue in there. So I've colored around in here with that pen. But then I left that area as is, so look at the benefit of that. It's really reflecting a lot of that light, but where I colored over the pen, that pearl aspect of it is subdued, so I think it's, I don't know. It's probably a little bit more lively, I'm guessing. I don't know, is that the word you'd use? Just in terms of the reflective quality of it, okay. Yeah. So it's interesting. I don't know, you know, it's just, it's a different look than just stamping on white paper. You know, these little dots right here really stand out. I'd probably kind of blend that out a little bit more, but I don't know, that's what it looks like. See, I was going like this where I couldn't even see them because I'm looking at it from an angle. You're looking at it like straight down like that, so you cover it up like that. But anyways, I'm thinking of this paper. So as I was doing this, I'm thinking, you know, like things like water, like an ocean surface or, you know, a lake or something like that. Can you imagine this paper reflecting that type of light in there? See, look at this area totally come to life like that. I don't know, something to explore. Okay, so anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I don't know, pearl papers, you probably have some in your inventory. If not, 40 sheets, 30 pounds, so it's really quite thin, you know. But I don't know, it does the job here, so pretty fun, interesting, to say the least, stuff for, I don't know, kind of for potential exploration. But I just know that, the inks work on it seemingly like any other photo paper, I believe. This one just happens to be like a pearl type of quality to it, that nice luminous, I guess pearlescent, I don't know, shimmer to it. A lot of reflective qualities up there, but not kind of obtrusive. So if there is such a thing as obtrusive these days. Yeah. Okay, so thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you can, and I'd really appreciate it. And thanks so much for watching.